What's up, guys? Let's talk about some baseball swings. Let's talk baseball swing stuff. Actually, first, let's talk real quick about golf swing stuff because I got a retreat coming up in May of 2025. I'd love to see you guys there. It's going to be in Carmel by the Sea. It's going to be awesome. And we're going to talk more about golf swing stuff, but I would imagine that we're going to get some baseball dads in this group who also play golf. And so we might talk some baseball stuff too. But man, we're going to be at some beautiful locations, working on the golf swing, eating some great food, and just enjoying ourselves. There's nothing like getting better at something and at the same time having fun. And that's what we'll be doing. So check that out at theswingmechanic.com. Hope to see you guys there. Also check out my lead arm training bat, my lead arm training club for golf. As you guys probably know, I approach the baseball and golf swing in a much different way than the way conventional instruction in both sports approach it. And I would say the main difference is that I don't think that approaching it by throwing a bunch of tips out there, throwing a bunch of positions that you're trying to force is working. It hasn't worked and it's still not working, and this is still the method of both instructional industries. And it's not necessary. If you look at the greatest hitters or the greatest ball strikers, particularly the greatest pound-for-pound hitters, because just the greatest hitters, some of them could have less than ideal swings if they're very strong people. But if you look at them, they're not piecing together their swings with a bunch of different positions that they're trying to achieve. It's not like that. This is what's always struck me as wrong with instruction in both areas, golf and baseball, and the right way to approach it, to my mind, is focusing on the lead side controlling the movement. And this kind of hacks into the swing. It changes it very quickly. And it instantly sort of rewires your swing. Now, it may take you some time to build that machinery, but it's the quickest way to change your swing, is to just become what I call lead arm dominant, using more of your lead side to control the swing. And so my method is based on that theory of the swing, that the main swing flaw that's out there is just people overusing their back arms. Again, golf or baseball. This is why we see the better hitters and the better ball strikers, they have this what's called a slotting action, the dropping flat of the barrel at the start of the forward swing. What that is it's a sign, it's an indication of the back arm not overexerting. And so the main difference with my philosophy of the swing from what's out there is you don't need all to patch together a great swing. That never has made sense to me, and it shouldn't make sense to you. Once again, because when we look at the best hitters, never in their process of developing a great swing were they patching together, forcing this position or forcing that position. What they did is they naturally developed a swing in which more of their lead side was powering the swing than most people. And this has to do, I can go down rabbit holes here, but this has to do with, I would say, mainly the tendency of our culture in golf and baseball to locate the most dominant arm in back when beginners are beginning to embark on the sport. And check out my book, Swing Like Griffey, if you're a baseball player. If you're a golf right now, the book I have out is How to Swing a Golf Club. Check it out at theswingmechanic.com. I get into all this stuff in those books, and I would appreciate the support. I appreciate all of your support as it is. And this movement is growing because there is truth to it. That's why. This is at least more true than any method that has come along so far. And I know that there are methods out there right now that are real popular. That's nothing new. There were popular methods back in the 80s that didn't work very well at all. Maybe even were worse than if they hadn't been there at all. I think for the most part, that's the way swing instruction has been. Is you're probably better off just trying to figure out the swing on your own. And there are methods out there that are popular in both sports, golf and baseball, that are really just popular because someone's working with a guy who's really famous. And so everyone says, oh, that must be the right method. But I think we're entering a time where this will all change. And it will be more about the efficacy of the actual approach than the shallow kind of attachment to the method just because he's working with X, Y, and Z players, So I appreciate you guys coming along with me on this journey. It's exciting. I do believe that at some point, I don't know when it will be, but this will be a very popular approach in both golf and baseball. It will actually revolutionize the way we instruct the swing. Once again, because it's really the first method that is almost rewiring your swing. And I know that this is said in baseball or golf. People say, this is a method that quickly changes. You see commercials now on YouTube of all sorts of nonsense going on. You might think that I'm one of those nonsense people, but I think that the truth will rise to the top at some point. And I do believe that my method of using more of your lead side will prevail. And I don't know. I can't see what would be beyond that. I don't even know. Maybe swing mechanics, maybe there's an end to this game. Maybe we do figure out the swing and then we kind of move on. I think there might be unlimited areas to kind of try to figure out within the game of hitting. And maybe swing mechanics is something that at some point we'll just have nailed, we'll have figured out. So enough of that rant. Check out theswingmechanic.com for all my products. And let's get into some of the subjects that we're going to talk about today, which honestly I don't even know. I just make these video clips and then here I am looking at it. I put together these things throughout the week and now I'm looking at it for the first time in a few days. So first we'll go over some questions or comments that I've gotten on YouTube. So let's see this one. I think Skank's method, I think it really is pronounced skank, which is quite ironic because it's so close to skunk, and man, his approach really stinks. But we'll go with skank for now. I think Skank's method is excessively emphasizing that weight should still be on rear foot at front foot strike, and that the barrel should be moving down and back starting immediately at front foot strike. Yep, I follow that. Without allowing the hands to leak forward early. Okay? So many hitters do all of these three things wrong if they one half implement Skank's method. Then I love how people don't use periods in these YouTube comments. It's so common. Just run-on sentences here. Then it probably results in a good swing. So he said, and if they one half implement Skank's method, then it probably... Okay, so he's saying if they don't take Skank's approach too seriously, but they just kind of half implement it, then it results in a good swing. We often overteach, I think that was supposed to be overteach, a physical move or feel when our student needs to change. I think the controversy over his method comes down to the fact that he doesn't realize or won't admit that his drills work best if hitters end up half implementing them in their game swings. It's like a sprinting coach teaching high knees drill. When the sprinter runs, the knees are not as high as in the drill, but practicing the exaggerated movement helps produce a better stride during the race. I see what he's saying. I could go in a few different directions here. I do see what you're saying. Basically, you're saying what Skank's doing is over-exaggerating the move. And so if people just somewhat do it, that's better than not doing it at all. Now, let me just say, I think Skank's method can make some hitters better. That's not interesting to me. I would have, and I have in my journey, thought that many of the things that Skank teaches, I was trying them. You know, like throughout my 20 plus years of trying to understand the swing, I was just fiddling with different things. That's how I got to the conclusion that and the method that I've gotten to now. And the stuff, I mean, of course, I was seeing this slotting action of the barrel or of the golf club in golf, but I was seeing this action and I was wanting to force it. Of course I tried forcing it. You know, forcing it meaning what Skank wants you to do, which is just snap it back with the wrists. You know, I've tried hanging back on the back. I've swinging up more. I mean, we've all tried a lot of stuff, and I've certainly tried the stuff that Skank teaches, and I disregarded it. It just is. Well, let me talk about what he's saying. So, can somebody get better? Yes. I think I'll say it differently than him. I think that the problem with Skank's approach is that it's forcing movements that have to really be the result. The flattening of the barrel, now people think this isn't a big deal, and oftentimes they'll say, you and Skank agree on this stuff because you both want the flattening action of the barrel. This is the oversimplification of people who are mostly dilettantes out there. They're not really, you know, into the swing. I mean, you know, I don't think, whatever. So, yes, it does matter when how the barrel flattens. Yes, it does matter if you're flattening the barrel by forcing it back with the wrists or whatever, the arms, whatever the Skank crowd, because they'll say, you're wrong, that's not what Look, I know the movement that he wants you to do. Whether I'm using the words to describe it the way he describes it, I don't know, but I understand the movement, and it's basically a forcing back of the barrel, however you want to say it. That's an unnatural thing, and it's not going to produce the same results as the barrel flattening in the proper way, which is the back arm not overexerting. When the back arm doesn't overexert and you power the swing with more of the lead side, then the barrel naturally flattens. And you can see this swinging with just the lead arm. Take the back arm completely out of it, and you understand what this feeling is. So I would disagree with this gentleman who's saying that, you know, well, I would agree that it can make some hitters better because some hitters are just god awful in their positioning. You know, mainly because they've bought into conventional instruction. I don't consider, when I say conventional instruction, I don't really, I guess I do lump Skank in there with that, but I mean, what's been conventional prior to Skank was a swing in which it was just horrible, you know? But Skank has improved on that a little bit, and I can see how people might find the right feel mistakenly by working on Skank's move, and produce better results. You know, I think that can happen. But again, that's not interesting to me. What's interesting to me is to find the absolute hack to the swing, the thing that really takes you, that is the difference between a great swing, a Ken Griffey Jr., or in golf, a Ben Hogan, and everybody else. Like, what is really the difference? Or just the guy on your team who seems to just, for whatever reason, you never knew how, but he just seems to hit the ball so far, and you don't get it. Even that guy, what is he doing? Well, what he's doing is the same thing. He's using more of his lead side and less of his back arm. So anyways, let's move on here, or else we'll be stuck on this for a while. Let's read another comment or question. I'm not sure what it is. The barrel definitely works back at the start of the swing. I've only been coaching 9 to 12-year-olds at this point, but in my assessment, the biggest problems are sequence and scap load. Scap load kind of makes me cringe, that phrase. They just don't have the body awareness to be able to do it consistently. I don't know what sequence means. That's kind of one of those words like direction. That's a big popular one now. Like, your swing doesn't have direction, bro. Like, just say what you're talking about. Like, I know words can be kind of difficult to describe a movement, but man, sometimes conventional instruction is so obscure in the way that they describe it. I mean, direction. What does that mean? What exactly are you trying to say? So I don't know what sequence means. Scap load, I get what that means. Just think that it's talking about the back arm when you're talking about scap load. And what we want from the back arm is just to freaking chill out. I mean, honestly, all y'all are just we have an overexerting of the back arm epidemic in baseball right now. So any talk of the back arm in like a cock it back, like, I'm just like, no, we need the opposite. We need to like chill the back arm. So anyways, at least while I'm hitting, the slight pinch of the scap allows the barrel to work back versus in front of the chest. Okay, I get that. Which also keeps my chest and arms working toward the center of the field. I don't quite get that. I don't know why you would want your chest and arm. I don't really get that. I knew if this gentleman was in front of me, I know that he could simply describe it, but this is just a semantics problem. I'm getting lost in just the words, unfortunately. I knew none of this when I played college ball because that was 20 years ago, and YouTube and the internet weren't a thing. Neither was easy access to videoing the swing. So, I think that what's important if you're going to work the back arm only, and I do have the back arm trainer on the swingmechanic.com, and I do want people to work the back arm in the right way. And when I want people to do that with the back arm trainer, I want the initial move to be kind of a scap load. I wouldn't describe it like that, but I can see it's kind of a stretching back here and then a drop. So you're getting a little stretch in the pec, a little bit. But the bottom line is when you have two hands on and you're swinging a bat, most people aren't going to get that far back with the back arm anyways. So, but I still like that because then, like the move Mookie Betts was doing that I showed, that move, it's at least training the arm to not do this. We're not exerting and flexing and going forward. So, yes, I do like that move, and then we move through contact in a certain way in which we're not flipping the wrist. So we do that move and then not flip the wrist through contact, and that combination is a good training for your back arm movement. But I think that the back arm really, for most of you guys, you need to feel it just going along for the ride for like a long time. And yes, you can train it all by itself, but for the most part, you just need to teach it how to just kind of go along for the ride for a little while. Let's move on. Oh, this is Jamie shits on other instructors time. Sorry, guys. Look, it's just so easy. I mean, conventional instruction out there is just horrid. But nothing against these guys, but they just strike me as kind of like posers, and when you're not a poser and you see a poser, you just cringe a little bit. And I think these guys just, first of all, I don't know why a lot of these guys would even be teaching what they're teaching, because they're just saying the conventional thing. Like if I let's say, studied the swing for years and then realized that the best method was the conventional method, you wouldn't be seeing me on YouTube. I'd be like, I got nothing special to say. Just let the local coaches teach what's been taught. They're on the right page. But so I don't understand why these guys even have a social media presence, because they're saying absolutely nothing new. They're saying the same old hands to ball kind of swing, and they're acting like they're saying something revolutionary. It's really odd. And people are just all over it. They love it. They can't get enough of it. This guy's great. He's saying what I've been hearing for 30 years. I don't get it. But let's play.
So now I'm going to tell you something that Chipper Jones told me when I played.
Oh, hey, if Chipper Jones said it, then it's sacrosanct. You cannot rip on it. See, this is how these guys operate. They connect themselves to somebody who you could never question because you're not at that level. Let's hear.
So right now you've hit two balls up, one kind of up the middle, one to the left, maybe the shortstop. Well, for me personally, you don't want to do that consistently, right? Okay, so Chipper Jones used to tell me this, because I was a...
Wait. Oh, I didn't catch that. I'm so caught up in his pajamas. I mean, he appears to be in his pajamas. I don't want to rip on the guy. I look how big his arms are. He could probably squash me. But, I mean, let's hear what he says.
Well, for me personally, you don't want to do that consistently, right? Okay.
Doesn't want to do what? Did anyone catch that?
One kind of up the middle, one to the left, maybe the shortstop.
Okay.
Well, for me personally,
this is...
do that consistently, right? Okay.
This is more of that, God forbid you pull the ball. God, that is terrible. Why are you hitting the ball up the middle or to the shortstop? That is terrible. You have to hit the ball the other way every single time. It's like people want to be seen as Yeah, most people think home runs are like the key, but I'm so into baseball. I'm so into it, and you just don't understand that I get what's real in baseball, and what's real is going the other way, bro. What's real is going the other way. Everyone, like the casual fan, thinks it's all about pulling home runs. It's not, man. It's about going the other way and hitting soft ground balls the other way, bro. That's the key. Look, I'm not, I sound like a broken record. I'm not interested in just pulling home runs. And I'm not even, people think that because I rip on small ball, that I only like home runs. No. I just think it's just as easy to hit a single as it is to try to hit a ground ball to the opposite field. Like, you're putting so much energy into an out. Why not just put that energy towards a single or possibly a double, God forbid, a pooled double, God forbid, a triple, and a home run. But I'm not just saying we need. People kind of equate what I'm saying with the whole launch angle era. Like, they kind of connect me. Oh, he's one of these launch angle guys. Just try to lift the ball up and hit more. I think that was something that was promulgated by these geeks who wanted another Moneyball revolution. Back in like the late teens, I feel like the launch angle. We just found out that home runs are hit between 30 degrees and 37 degrees. So now we hacked the swing, man. All you have to do is tilt your spine angle back and swing up so that you hit more 30 to 37 degree pop-ups, and you're going to hit more home runs. That's not the program that I'm on, guys. But this whole idea that you need to go the other way is again, it's nothing new. This is stuff that was told to me when I was 10 years old. That the prudent thing was to go the other way. I bought in, and it gave me a swing in which my hands were coming out like this, and I was slapping at the ball the other way. And it did nothing for me.
So Chipper Jones used to tell me this. Because I was
Chipper Jones, man.
Hitter. So I had to concentrate on not letting my top hand turn too early. And he told me, he's like, Wes, the way you fix that is to change your direction with your vision when you're training. T-work, soft toss, BP. I want you to change your direction. Go ahead and think in your mind, I'm driving this ball to the second baseman. I'm going to go ahead and just shift my direction so I stay this way and not this way. Because he's like, if you just turn it just an inch to 2 inches, that's the difference in a hard line drive to right center or a ground ball to shortstop.
I don't really understand all that. I got to be honest. I just, the only thing I can think, oftentimes I try to see the silver lining in what these people are saying, like how maybe his words could actually lead to somebody hitting better for a little while. And it sounds like, I mean, if you're going to hold that angle to try to go the ball, to try to take the ball the other way, you might be doing less of a flipping action. But again, I would rather just, I think that throughout instructional history when it comes to the baseball swing, there have been some instruction that has been trying to communicate something that is pretty decent. But if you don't hit the nail on the head, I don't think that it's of value. Because it's going to turn into something that's a flaw if you don't hit the nail on the head. And I'm just saying, I mean, possibly it would allow the person to not kind of flip at the ball. But flipping, it's not going to solve flipping. There's still going to be a flipper if they don't understand the real culprit of flipping. You see what I'm saying? And the real culprit is not enough lead side working and too much of the back arm working. If you don't address the exact issues that are the problem, and it is just one problem. That's the thing. Everyone wants to say, well, everyone's got a different problem. And I don't think so. I think that a flaw in the swing really comes down to you're not utilizing enough of the lead side and you're exerting too much with the back arm. And that's it. I know people want to say, no, everyone's got their own flaw and this and that. I don't think so. I know that that's going to be a controversial thing to say. I know that there are swing coaches out there that are, regard themselves as, luminaries in the field and have based their career on looking at the swing as something that's very convoluted and different for every single person they see and every single person they teach. But I just think that's because they haven't seen the real key to the swing, which is more lead side, less back arm. This is Jody Davis, a video that I posted on Instagram. Jody Davis was a great pound-for-pound hitter. And here's a look. I watch a lot of older games. I like to watch the older games because, and I'm talking about the 80s, because it was pre-steroid era. And honestly, I don't like the way I get fooled by the steroid era. I mean, I know a lot of people out there were like, more home runs, bruh. But I don't like, I like technique. I like craftsmanship. And, of course, get as big as you can. But what I like about the 80s is they didn't even think lifting was something that was all that important for baseball yet. So you get an isolation of great mechanics for any of the hitters that did well in the 80s. And that's what I'm interested in. That's not to say that I think you guys shouldn't be bulking up as much as you can. We've seen what more muscle can do in the steroid era. We did learn that from the steroid era. And I'm grateful for that. I didn't actually know that 40, 50 plus pounds of muscle could do what it did. But it's huge. It's really important, so that's cool. But I like watching these 80s games because it's before the steroid era, and you just get a clear picture of the guys who, this is like 84. There were basically no steroids yet. And you can see that. I mean, people say, oh, there were steroids. There were steroids back in the 20s. And look at the players, okay? It's real easy to see in the late 90s and early 2000s the bodies of guys. I mean, it was just from 1 to 9 in the lineup, pretty much. It was just totally different. But this is a cool swing because Jody Davis, again, a pound-for-pound great who's very underrated, does a great secondary cushion. Let's see if you can watch this in real time. I'll turn down the volume because we don't need volume here. See if you can see this secondary cushion in real time. It's very slight, but sometimes secondary cushions are. Sometimes they're a little bit longer. You got to learn how to do the full range. You see that move? Just a slight pause, and he hits a line drive home run there. Let's see it again, and we'll see it in maybe slower motion here. Oh, I thought we were going to see it again, but we're on to the next Instagram clip that I'm going to rip on. Let's see it here. I'll play it in slower motion now. I mean, even in slow motion, it's actually harder to see than in regular motion. But there's kind of the pause, and he keeps movement going. I want you guys to be able to flow from the secondary cushion, from the stride into a secondary cushion, and then finish the swing, making it a nice, seamless movement if you can. So let's take it back. We'll watch it in regular motion one last time here. There you go. I mean, that is just very slight, but it helped him to, turn basically waving at a pitch into a home run. A strike or a ground out, he turned into a home run. That's very valuable. So let's play this clip. Oh, I don't know if there's any talk. There's no talk in here. I don't think we need volume. I'm going to take that back. I think it's just... okay. This is the kind of stuff I see on Instagram all the time. Like, what's going on here, guys? Maybe you guys can illuminate for me exactly what the hell is being taught out there. Like, this is very tight movements. Why do we want tightness? What is it about instruction? And I think this is in many sports. What is it about instruction where they want you to be tight? They think that better mechanics equals rigidness. You guys know what I'm talking about out there. It's really odd. But this is one of those things. Like, look at this. Basically, this guy could be in a cement... from his waist down and do a swing like this. Like, this is all arms. He's teaching his body to be all arms. He's extremely disconnected at contact. And then he's stopping right here. What would be the reason for that, people? When you're stopping right here, you're training the exact muscles in your wrists and your arms that you don't want to train. You're training the muscles to keep the barrel away from the zone. Because you're basically pulling back on the barrel from rotating. So you're training an extremely rigid, robotic movement, first of all, but the positions are just nasty. I mean, again, look how tight he is. His hands are coming basically right in front of his chest. And again, I think these instructors are just proud of themselves and patting themselves on the back because they think that tightness means you're doing the prudent thing. You're being tight. They think that good mechanics is just confine. Make them more and more rigid and confined in their movement. That's what good mechanics is. And another thing is, what is with the guy teeing up the ball? Like, he's completely wasting time. Are you telling me that the guy hitting the ball can't also tee it up? Can he just place a ball, I don't know, place the bag behind him? Maybe behind his right leg or behind his lead leg if he's, wants to maybe turn that way or maybe switch it up so he's turning different ways on different practices. But it's such a waste of time to just be teeing up a ball for somebody. I guess that's what people are talking about. Like, this reminds me of the word direction. Is that direction? I still don't know what it means, but like, I hear people say direction and they're taking a swing like that. So maybe that's something to do with direction. I don't know. I still don't know what exactly direction means. But if it means that swing, stay away from any coach that advises you get direction. All right, let's listen to what this guy says about the swing.
To take his game to the next level were these two major things, right? The upper half.
Oh, Kerry Carpenter. So he's talking about Kerry Carpenter, who is a Skank student. So this guy is bought in probably to the Skank method. He's at his couch and he's putting his leg up against his couch.
Fully stretched upper half, right? He's ready to go right now. He's in a fully loaded position as if he was throwing a haymaker, right, in the fight. And from here, he can go. He doesn't have to reload and bring his hands back, drop his barrel. He doesn't have a hitch in his swing.
This is the most hilarious thing, that people are so shallow and simple that they think that this is actually like a good concept. This whole idea of I'm ready to go. I don't have to do anything more. I can just go from here. And that supposedly means that you're going to be quicker. Why? Why does that mean you're going to be faster to the ball? Like, why can't you do a little movement before you actually swing? That's what you actually see in the better pound-for-pound hitters. You get a little bit of movement going, and if you don't swing, all you've done is you've spent about a calorie actually moving. Is that a problem? I mean, you could just have M&Ms in your pocket, and you could pop an M&M if you have a problem with expending a calorie of getting ready. I don't see why being as still as a statue is and loaded and ready to like you're a rubber band pulled all the way back. And I think I do hear people make that analogy. Doesn't make any sense, guys. Doesn't make any sense. There's absolutely no reason why you can't and shouldn't build up power, shift a little weight, and have that be your prep movement, not position. We don't want to sit there in a static position. It's not necessary to do that. But that's what's being sold.
So that limits the amount of time that is needed before he can swing the bat.
It's so ridiculous. Like, no. It's not like we're saying, oh, I want to swing at this pitch. Now let me get all these movements going. And then you're going to be at 2 seconds late on the pitch. That's not how it works. You get these movements going, and then as you're finishing these movements and you have all this energy built up, you can't have the same amount of energy built up with a static position as you can one that's actually fluid and moving. You just can't. So we're doing these as we're trying to figure out, is this a pitch we're going to swing at?
He's fully loaded, fully stretched.
By the way, the reason why there's an overarching cultural reason why this kind of swing is advocated for. Can any of you guys figure that out? I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it. Why is a swing like this so popular? Come on, give me the answer. I want to hear you say it out loud. None of you got it right. The reason why is because of pitching machines. Look, in the Sandlot days, nobody was talking about this idiotic way of hitting because they were actually seeing live pitching. But nowadays, 90% of what guys are seeing is machines. And machines just spits the ball out. And when it just spits the ball out, you better be ready, right? And you don't know when it's coming. But there's a dance between the pitcher and the hitter. And we've lost this ability to dance. We've lost this ability to secondary cushion, to stride and shift some weight, to be fluid in your action, and be okay with that. Be totally comfortable with that, and know that that's building up a hell of a lot of power. And I'm okay doing it because if I'm off a little bit on my timing, I have mechanisms in place that can mitigate the effect of off-speed pitches. But because we just see a bunch of pitching machines, during the offseason, during spring training, even during the season, we've gotten enamored with pitching machines, and they are just a waste of money, honestly, as far as I'm concerned. And I know probably, I get a lot of coaches, like, I use them sometimes. I think that they are a waste. Why isn't someone throwing? Get that guy who's teeing a ball up for a guy and have him throw to people. Hell, use your offhand if your shoulder is sore. Use your other hand. Teach your guys how to throw with the other hand. That's needed too. We have to even our bodies out. So that's needed too. We have plenty of arms out there. See an actual release of the ball. The pitching machines are not good. And this is what it's leading to.
At any moment. That's one of the major keys. The next is the lower half. His lower half, he feels like he's 100% weighted on his back leg. So he's fully loaded, fully stretched for the upper half. He's on his back leg. If you took a PVC pipe and took it from his back shoulder, back at the top of his head, and went down through the ground, through his back leg and back foot, it is all in line. So you can just start right here. It's a similar position to Shohei Ohtani.
Is that good that you can take a PVC pipe and stick it down his head and neck and it'll go right through his leg? Does that prove that that's a better position?
The only thing is his foot is in the air and Shohei Ohtani gets his foot down on the ground. So you combine that, the position of being fully loaded with the upper body, and then all the weight on the back leg in a good position where now you can hold your balance and keep your head still and track the pitch and decide if you want to swing. Now you can let the ball come further to you because he has time to swing whenever he wants. So now he can let the baseball come further to him. And he's extremely quick and short to the baseball by having his upper body fully stretched. He has no extra movement, no extra slop in his swing. So he can wait longer to decide to swing. When you can wait longer to decide to swing, you're going to swing at better pitches. Things that...
Okay, it's just completely oversimplified understanding of the swing and just based on so many false assumptions. And most people are buying into this swing. And most people are not even questioning. They think without a question this is the right kind of swing. Oh, here's my left-handed Babe Ruth signature. Has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I thought I'd put it in here. I wanted to see what you guys think of it. Babe Ruth left-handed signature, and then compare that to the actual Babe Ruth right-handed signature. There it is. So as you can see, I need some work. And I'm going to keep going on this. I'm going to keep going. My hope is that Hollywood someday will hire me to do a Babe Ruth signature, and I'll get my SAG card, and I'll be an actual legitimate Hollywood star. So that's my goal. I'm getting there with the signature. That's not too bad right there. But it's still, the A is off. The E is pretty darn good. I've worked hard on that. The R is pretty good, but not 100%. If we go back and forth from the R, you can see his looks like more of like a Brachiosaurus, and mine is maybe a little bit like a Brachiosaurus. But the U is not quite there. His U is real tight. Also, the T, the cross on the T needs to be nice and straight across. He always had his beautifully straight across. And the H obviously has some work to do. So, anyways. Let's go to the swing analysis stuff. And this is a guy, Jackson Merrill. And, man, I was watching some of this guy's highlights to get some of his swings. And, yeah, he's hit a few clutch homers. But he sure does embarrass himself when he runs around the bases, man. Just chill out, dude. So we have a .292 batting average in 2024 with 24 homers. Let's see. He is 195, 6'3", 195. So he's a bats left, throws right guy. So I'm going to probably see some lead arm dominance here. And there you can see that's pretty indicative of lead arm dominance. Nice dropping of the... I mean, this is a nice looking lead arm dominant swing. You know, it's not tremendously lead arm. Most guys aren't in the major leagues because, again, they're hanging around the batting cages and they're listening to... and you just get influenced by the guys who you're around. You can't really help it. I mean, even if you were someone who's not interested in swing mechanics at all, which most of these guys, they make it to the pros, and then they think, oh, I got to be someone at least somewhat interested in swing mechanics, which is a big mistake these days. Because the conventional approach, no matter which way you turn, any conventional philosophy, to me, is going to lead you mostly backwards. Like I said, skanks, and more people are jumping on the skank train, but it's not a guarantee to solve the problem. I think it mostly just helps guys who are really in bad shape, because at least they're getting a pseudo slotting of the barrel at the start, the flattening of the barrel. But a lot of these guys are just so influenced by, basically what it comes down to is too much exertion of the back arm. I mean, this is something Skank doesn't talk about, and therefore I think he's on the wrong page. And then if you look at the conventional approach, the go the other way, the throw the hand, that's actually advocating for more back arm exertion. So a lot of people are kind of doing a hybrid. I think that this is what they end up doing is they do a little bit of skanks hanging back on the back leg, a little bit of skanks dropping the barrel, but then they also do a little bit of the modern or the conventional approach of throwing the hands and slapping the ball the other way. They kind of hybridize those two methods. That's what I've seen. And so I bet you Jackson Merrill probably had a very lead arm dominant action as a kid. And then he just got influenced by all this stuff that happens in swing instruction as he got more serious about the game. Unfortunately, these guys think they need to jump on the train. So, I mean, there's a little bit of a back arm exertion in his action, but it is also very lead arm dominant. So good for Jackson Merrill. But like that kind of move. Like, why is he stopping right there? That's a conventional thing. That's that whole, what we just saw, that kid just stopping right out here. That's the direction thing, I think. And that's kind of like, why not just continue all the way around? This is usually a problem for righties, but here a lefty is halting his swing prematurely. There's no reason for it. Now we have Ichiro. By the way, these are three guys who someone recommended I do, and I figured, let's do it. Ichiro, Merrill, and then Ohtani for the last one. So shout out to the person who asked for these three guys. I think Ichiro had a very lead arm dominant action. Let's see Ichiro. Let's see. Yeah, he was another guy. So all the guys we're looking at today are a bats left, throws right guys. Batting average 311, weighed 175. So he was light, but he wasn't a 160. Stan Musial was 175. So you can hit a good amount of homers at a 175 weight. But Ichiro just was almost running before his swing was finished. And so he didn't really go for the power, yet his swing was very lead arm dominant. I've seen it from the side before, and I just remember thinking, wow, that's very lead arm dominant. But then he would just kind of, let's see what he does. Yeah, he would just kind of like start running like as soon as he started hitting, it seemed like. And that usually takes away from some power. That's why I tell people, don't worry about running. Now, if you're fashioning yourself as an Ichiro guy, Ichiro, it's hard to argue with his numbers. But even for Ichiro, I would say finish the swing, man. If on certain at-bats, you want to go for the slap hit, maybe you want to place it somewhere and you're as fast as someone like Ichiro, sure. Then I'm in favor, but that's not small ball. That's playing good odds. Like, that's just, I'm fast, and I think I can get a single here, and that's what I'm going to go for. That's different than like, there's a guy on third base, 1 out. I'm going to ground out to the right side. I just disagree with that. That's just sacrificing yourself, and there's no guarantee you're going to score the guy anyways. I've seen plenty of times where guys are trying to do this, and they pop out, or they strike out, or they just ground out, and the infield is ready for it, and no one scores. Anyways, Ichiro, so I mean, he had 117 homers. I don't know what his at-bats per home run was, but, you know, I still would say for Ichiro, like, even someone his size, like, finish the swing, you know? But I think this one was a little high and inside, so maybe he didn't have quite the connection there at contact that I've seen him have. But again, you know, most guys at the major league level are going to have quite a bit of lead arm dominance in their action, because it's hard to make it to that level if you don't. Now we have Ohtani. Again, I see a lot of lead arm in his swing, but I also see that he's been influenced by the conventional instruction. You know, you can see the lead arm gets away from him. Look, Ohtani is one of the best hitters of all time at this point. He's 210 pounds. I mean, the guy is unbelievable. Like 54 homers with a 310 average. It's just insane. But doesn't mean he couldn't have a better swing. I think that, you know, and maybe I'll do this one day, is put him up against Griffey and basically explain what I like better about Griffey's movement than Ohtani's. You know, I think Ohtani could get more front humerus compression. I think he could get the barrel dropping a little bit flatter. And this is all to say he could just utilize more lead side and a little bit less of the back arm. And you can see how the lead arm just kind of gets away from his body here. That's just a lot of pushing out of the hands. But very well connected. I mean, he's still got it. Don't get me wrong. His action is very nice. Very, very good swing. And there's no flip in it. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful action there. It's hard to say this because people think that you can't argue with guys who are crushing it these days. I disagree with that. I think that there are more skills in hitting than just swing mechanics. And what I'm picking apart is just his swing mechanics. He's off the charts most likely in every other skill. And he's also off the charts in swing mechanics. But doesn't mean that there's not room for improvement. And those are, you know, for all these guys, I would just lead them through the exact drills that I have in my Swing Like Griffey book. You know, I would lead them through some of the drills that I've talked about. The lead arm progression is the primary thing. You know, so that's it for now, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Check out more about my approach and the lead arm progression in my book Swing Like Griffey, and check out my website, theswingmechanic.com, where I have all this stuff, my ebooks, and my training bat, and the back arm trainer. And I appreciate everyone's support, and I'll see you next time.